The case of the missing baby from Ludington will resurface in headlines this week. Baby Kate's father, who is charged with her disappearance, is headed to court.
911, where's your emergency?
The father of my child took our daughter, and I don't know where he's at with her. She's my daughter. He has no legal rights over her.
That call began the highly publicized case that would stretch from late June to now. The night 4.5-month-old Catherine Phillips went missing, police found and arrested her father, Sean Michael Phillips, but couldn't find her. They issued an Amber Alert and began their search. People combed wooded areas, posted flyers around town. Police looked on foot and by air for any sign of the child, but all of those searches turned up empty.
This video contains the interview of a man who was responsible for the death of his infant daughter. 21-year-old Sean Phillips had reached a point of desperation. His parents hadn't been happy at the news that he had fathered a child several years earlier at such a young age, and he couldn't bear telling them that he was having another daughter with the same woman, Ariel Cortland. For months he had avoided the topic, and Ariel was growing more and more upset. She was determined to tell them the truth and wanted Phillips to take a paternity test so there could be no question that he was the father. Instead of going to the appointment, he took Cortland and the baby Kate to DHS to give her up for adoption. Cortland refused and demanded to be taken back home. The couple fought viciously along the way, and when Cortland got out of the car and went to the back, Phillips ignored her request to stay and pulled away without realizing Kate was still in the car seat. After driving around town, Phillips became more frustrated and, being bothered by the presence of the car seat, decided to toss it out and abandon it to annoy Cortland. It got stuck, and he yanked it with extra force. The move launched the baby into the air, and she suffered severe injuries when she landed. Phillips did not believe she could be saved, and when she died, he abandoned her body.
Hey, Sean. Sorry about the wait, buddy. My name is Detective Sergeant Posma, and I'm with the Mesa County Sheriff's Office, okay? How you doing? You good with your water?
Yes, I'm fine.
Need anything? You smoke?
No thanks.
You don't smoke?
I don't.
Okay. Chew?
Yes.
You do chew? You want to chew?
Mm.
I got a little bit left.
Sure.
You want one? Go ahead, finish my can up, buddy. Spat right in that freaking. We'll share the spatter. How's that? Huh?
Thank you.
All right. Okay. How you feeling? Good? You all right?
I don't really know how to
Nervous?
describe it, I suppose.
Nervous?
I really don't know.
Okay, all right. I just need to get some general information from you, Sean.
Phillips is fairly emotionless, which always raises flags with the police when the suspect is the parent of a missing child.
Get started here. Your first name is Sean, and how do you spell that?
S-E-A-N.
Okay, S-E-A-N, and your middle name?
Michael.
Michael? M-I-C-H
A-E-L.
A-L, okay. And your last name?
Phillips.
Phillips.
2 L's.
Okay. And how old are you? Okay. And what is your date of birth? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And where do you currently live at, Sean?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And do you have a phone number?
My phone is currently stolen, but I use a house phone.
Okay.
My parents' house phone.
And what number is that? Now, does that go through a cell? Is that a cell phone?
It's a cell phone,
Okay.
yeah.
Who's the provider of that? Is that, and you said your phone got stolen
Yes.
about a couple of weeks ago?
About a week ago.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit sooner.
What kind of phone did you have?
I don't really recall.
Was it a... All right. And what was the number on that phone?
It's in that phone that they have. It's
Okay. Okay.
and then I'm not sure after that.
Okay, so question after that. All right. And Sean, are you employed any place right now?
Been laid off for quite a while. I'm seeking work, but
Okay.
in Army National Guard.
Okay, so you're in the Army National Guard. All right. And how long you been with the National Guard?
Close to 4 years.
Okay, 4 years. Did you do any active time?
I'm supposed to deploy in August.
Okay, all right. You were never active Army, you've always been National Guard?
Yes, always National Guard.
Okay. Have you ever been deployed before?
No,
You've never been deployed?
no. Actually got in like 2 months after my unit deployed, so just barely missed it.
Okay. But you're planning on deployment, right?
Yes,
Your unit's planning on deploying?
they've changed it 3 times now. so-
Okay, which do you know a date on your deployment?
No.
You don't know a good date?
August 9th, I think, is when we're gonna start doing a lot of training and basically not be around anymore, but we'll be back a few times, like for. a few
Before you
weeks
go
at a time.
and stuff? Okay. And what do you do in the National Guard?
Infantry.
Infantry? And what guard unit are you out of?
125,
Okay,
Delta Company.
Delta Company? Who's your company commander?
Captain Vanderby.
Vanderveen?
Vanderby, V-A-N-D-E-R-B-I-E, I believe.
Vanderby? Okay. Is he a captain?
Yes.
Okay. Who's your first sergeant?
We're supposed to get a new one. Acting first sergeant is Sergeant Radel.
Sergeant Riddle?
Radel, R-A-D-L-E.
Okay. Is he a staff or is he a full
No.
rocker?
Oh,
E8 or?
He's E7, I believe.
He's 7 staff, so he's a staff sergeant? Okay.
Oh, no, he's E8. Never mind.
He's E8,
Yes.
so he's master sergeant? 3 rockers down the bottom without the diamond is a master, right? I was in the military. I spent 3 years active, Army, 1st Infantry Division. Was combat medic. I then got out and I spent 7 years guard time out of the Cadillac Armory up in Cadillac, which at the time was an armored unit. They've now switched and gone to support or something, I don't know. But I spent 10 years total time, a little over 10 years, almost 11 years.
You only had 10 more.
Huh?
You only had 10 more.
I know, but it was time for me to leave, so I separated from service but I thoroughly enjoyed. In fact, if I wouldn't have met my wife, I probably would have stayed in.
I was planning on active until
Yeah.
I had my daughter, so.
Yeah, well, that makes it tough. Military life is not an easy thing for a family, and so I opted out, and my next big, thing that I wanted to do was law enforcement. So that's where I've been. A little bit about myself. I've been a police officer for 20 years. Okay, been a plainclothes detective for over 12 years. And I've worked here at the sheriff's office for it's about 17 years total. And I had
Phillips' deployment was one of the issues causing problems between him and Cortland, and why he thought this would be the best time to put Kate up for adoption.
other sheriff department experience in Lake County and also PD. So I've been around for a while, I guess. So you say you're laid off right now. Did you have employment at one time?
Yes, I've had many jobs, but
Okay, what was your last employment other than the National Guard?
my last job was through Manpower.
Okay.
But I worked for it was 3 factories here in Livingston.
Okay. 3 different factories?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay, how do you feel about deploying? Good with it?
Excited, but
Excited but nervous?
don't really want to be away from my kid.
Right. Now, you have, you say you have a kid. What's your child's name? And how old is he? And with you?
Yes.
Okay. And you said that you... Okay, and what's your mom and dad's name?
Kim and Larry.
Kim and Larry? Okay. And it's Phillips, right?
Yes.
I have to ask because sometimes family dynamics. Okay. And mom?
Ariel, Cortland.
Okay. Do you have any other children?
Not that I know of.
Not that you know of. Is there some question that you might be a father to another child?
The one in question here, yes.
Yeah, and what's her name?
Catherine.
Catherine?
Yes.
Is it spelled Kathrine?
That's, yes, yes.
That's how you're spelling it?
I believe that's how it was spelled.
Okay. And does she carry your last name?
She gave her my last name, yes.
So she's Phillips?
Yes.
Okay. Why don't you explain to me how, I mean, it sounds, just in talking with you just shortly, you're not sure if this is your kid, right? And
It was,
can you just explain that to me a little bit? What's the situation there?
we dated briefly years ago.
Okay.
And she intentionally got pregnant.
Okay, and that's,
Yes.
okay,
Well, it was very brief, relationship with us.
okay,
And, where's it going with that? Well, it's been hell for all these years. She's lived with me since she was 1 and was aware of the state removed from her mother for a long time. And
okay,
just her mother's, it's always seemed like one of those people you see on Maury or Dr. Phil's show where, 15-year-old.
Now you're talking about Ariel's mom?
Ariel.
Or just Ariel herself?
Or they think that having babies are cute and they just want to have a baby, but then they realize it's more
a lot of
than
work.
that. So she's always lived with me, but she's
Okay.
never really seemed concerned with being a part of it. It's just harassing me and trying to emotionally, mentally abuse me.
Okay,
The relationship between Phillips and Cortland was never particularly strong, and Cortland resented Phillips for refusing to tell his parents about Kate, even though the couple already had another daughter, Haley. Right now on my Patreon, you can watch the most shocking interrogation you'll ever see by far. What happens in this interrogation room is certainly not suitable for YouTube, and it will leave you completely shocked. Go to patreon.com/strangerstoriesplus to watch it, plus many other Patreon exclusive videos.
how is your relationship with... Good?
Oh, that's very good.
Okay. You enjoy being with her and things?
Yes, no, when I'm laid off, I'm always with her generally.
Okay.
But just,
So would you say you're pretty close to you?
yes.
Okay. All right. Now, does Ariel live with you now?
We have never lived together.
Okay, because kind of when you were talking, it sounded like maybe Ariel was maybe living with you at one point, or no? Okay. Where does Ariel live?
She somewhat recently,
Okay.
it's,
Where's that?
really recall the name of it.
Okay. Okay. And so, been living with you and your mom and dad, and
The custody arrangement just recently changed.
okay,
It's still an ongoing legal battle, really.
okay, all right. Can you explain that to me a little bit? What's going on? Where's the status of that?
I don't know. It ended because the front of the court was hassling me. We've always been going through the front of the court for all the years,
Okay.
in there almost every month.
Okay.
And she got a job, supposedly, got this,
Okay.
and just took me to court, and this Jack Bulger just handed her joint physical custody,
Okay.
but it wasn't an evidential hearing, so I couldn't actually stack of paperwork and history of her interactions and everything. I couldn't use that.
Okay. All right. So you've met with or in front of Jack Bulger several times, then I take it.
Yes.
Okay. And currently, the custody is with you,
It's joint physical custody now.
joint physical between
That-
you and Ariel?
Yes, that changed about, I want to say 4 months ago, 3
4
months
months
ago,
ago.
but just like before, she doesn't really exercise her parenting time.
Okay.
Well, she will on occasion, but sometimes she'll go months without.
How is the arrangement? Is it more with you, and then she gets a weekend, or how does that arrangement work?
On the court order, it is 1 week with each of us,
Okay.
and then the Wednesday night
Is
of
it-
every week, you're supposed to have her overnight,
Okay.
the other party.
All right. So
But
it's,
we are mostly going off a verbal agreement of 3 days there, 3 days here.
okay. All right.
But sometimes she will not give her back when it's time to give her back,
Okay.
just to
All right.
cause problems, or
Cause
sometimes she
problems.
won't get her at all when it is her time.
Okay. So the court order, just so I know I got this right, the court order says every other week, and then the week that the parent does not have the child scheduled, you get her on that Wednesday night for an overnight.
Yes.
Okay. But you guys have kind of been doing a verbal where it's 3 nights, 3 nights, 3 nights, 3 nights. Like,
Yes.
so-
We've
Depict
I've fallen back on the court order sometimes just because she likes to play her games, and the verbal agreement just gets messy, so if you just stick to the court order, it's a
Okay.
little easier,
All
but
right. Want to talk a little bit about Catherine. What's the situation right now with you and Ariel and Catherine? What's that all about?
well,
I mean, let me start this way. What is she claiming in regards to Catherine?
legally, she's claiming it's mine.
Okay.
It's been quite a strange thing, like,
Okay.
throughout her whole pregnancy, she really tried to kind of hide it,
Okay.
and even up to this day, she will outright tell people that I don't usually see, or people I don't know,
Mhm.
that we are married and living together, and we have another kid in common,
Okay.
or one expected at that
Okay.
time.
Okay.
But then other people, she'll tell them the truth.
Okay.
And from talking to her mother and her friends and family, and actually seeing like stuff on Facebook that she's put in text messages and stuff, I guess there's 5 possible fathers, not counting me,
Okay.
and then a 6th.
Phillips did not want to believe that he was the father and resisted taking a paternity test for confirmation. It would have been easier for him to remain emotionally distant if he didn't believe he was giving up his own child.
One that's just kind of a rumor,
Okay.
just ones that she had sex with during that time frame.
Okay.
But then we weren't together at that time. I was out at a party. Well, where would that be? Out past Ludington Ways.
Okay.
It was for the Jeff Schwartz, the guy that runs the disc golf organization around here.
Okay.
He has a party once a year for the golfers, and
Okay.
I guess I was hammered. She showed up because she found out from other people that I was there, and came on to me, and we supposedly had intercourse in my vehicle.
Okay.
But I'm not the type to not remember stuff when I'm drinking,
Okay.
and I've no memory of this, so
Don't remember. Okay.
that's the only real,
Okay.
that's,
When Catherine was born, were you living around here?
yes, I was living at the same address.
Okay. You weren't deployed any place or anything like that? Okay.
I want to say I was actually home on the week that she was born.
Okay. Do you know when Catherine was born? The date?
2/12 sounds right.
2/12 of what? Of 11?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not sure on the exact date, but it was that month.
It was close. Okay.
She didn't really ever bring it up to me. It's just what I've seen on the paperwork
Okay.
recently.
And so, since Catherine's birth, what has happened? Has there been any kind of legal things that are going on or anything like that? As far as whether or not you are the father or not
Oh,
the
yes.
father?
Well, she'd always try to hide her when I'm over there, and she never really spoke about her with me, but
Okay.
then just suddenly I get this thing in the mail saying that from the prosecuting attorney
Okay.
about how she's accusing me as father, but then when I talked to her, she said that she didn't, and they're just putting 2 and 2 together because we already have a kid in common, so.
Okay.
She's saying the prosecuting attorney just assumed it was me.
Okay. So she filed some paperwork.
She
The
says it wasn't
prosecutor.
her that did it, but I don't believe that.
Okay. And that was for some type of, what, paternity test type
It
thing,
was
or?
come in, sign the paperwork, decline that you think it is, and
Okay.
opt for the paternity test.
Opt for the paternity. And
Which-
you do that then?
I had to do that today at 12.
Okay.
Actually did it a little bit earlier than 12.
Okay, so you did have your paternity test today?
Yes.
Okay. Where did you have to go for that?
That was the laboratory in the hospital here in Ludington.
Did they give you any results of that or anything?
It was a mouth swab on both sides, and then
They'll
some-
get back with you or
a lot
what?
of paperwork. I'm guessing I'll just get something in the mail.
Okay. All
I
right.
don't know if they actually do it there, because the paperwork kind of said it was sent.
Set some place for the testing part?
Right.
Okay. All right. So as far as you know, Catherine's not your child?
It's
Or at
not,
least you believe this?
it's not impossible, but I find it hard to believe. It'd be quite a surprise to me.
Okay. All right.
Phillips left before taking the test, and Cortland was always sure that Kate was his child. If he truly did not believe her, a simple test early on would have spared him the time and expense of custody. By taking on that responsibility, he signaled that, at least on a subconscious level, he knew he was the father.
But definitely your child. You
She
believe
damn well
it?
better be. I have
Did you ever go through any kind of paternity test with it?
No, I signed the paperwork. I was
That
there
you were-
when she was born, and
Okay. All
we
right.
weren't ever dating during her pregnancy, but
Okay.
I don't have any doubt that she's not mine.
Okay, good. All right. Okay, what I'm gonna do, Sean, is I'd like to kind of just take you through your day today. And if you could just kind of start out, this morning and, just kind of tell me from the time that you got up, kind of what the events were of your day, if you could do that for me.
Well, she didn't give her back all week, so then we
When you
fought
say-
until yesterday.
Let me stop you real quick.
Yes.
What I would like for you to do is be as descriptive as possible for me too, when you say, well, she didn't give me back. I mean, tell me who it was that you're talking about. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So, I had a party for the military this week. I came back, I was supposed to get her. Well, she called me wanting me to come pick up,
Okay,
and came all the way over there, and she did not give her to me.
okay,
Then the following day was my day to get her back, and she would not give her to me.
okay,
And so we've just been fighting all week, all kinds of threats of going back to court, and
okay,
her threatening to run away with her, and
okay,
fighting over the 4th of July, because last year I was supposed to have 4th of July, because I was actually scheduled to deploy. They've just changed the date 3 times and set it back.
okay,
And so she showed up with the police, just because she knew that we had family there.
uh-huh,
So she jumps on any opportunity to make a scene.
right,
So then she was giving her a hug, but then when she had her in her arms, the officer couldn't physically remove her, so she just jumped in the car and left. She was supposedly just giving her a hug goodbye. And
that was
now-
last 4th of July?
Yes, last 4th of July. And then next 4th of July, I'm not gonna be around, so
So you
by
wanted
all
her,
means,
you wanted her this 4th of July?
yes, by all means, it is my duty to have her.
Okay, all right.
But she was quite angry about that and trying to
Okay,
get her
so
back.
that's stuff that's been going on previously, before today? Stuff that's been
So
going
to
on this
day.
week? Okay,
And then last night we got into a fight. That's when I actually got her back finally.
okay,
So I got home, was quite upset, drank a little bit,
okay,
went to bed pretty late, woke up this morning, took a shower, then she was calling, wanting me to come in well, first she was calling just to fight and argue. Then she called again and I answered because I think it was from a different number, because if I'm not answering the phone, she'll just call from some number I don't recognize.
Okay. And was she calling you on that, is that the number she was calling you on?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
She wanted me to come in about some paperwork or something or other for enrollment in school.
Okay.
Second time this has come up, but nothing came of it when I actually was there, but I spent probably a couple hours just ranting about all the nonsense and games she's been playing all week to my mother, and set up a sprinkler outside and just kind of was around the house all morning. Then probably around 11 or a little after, 11 to 11:30, I left to go to that appointment at the hospital for testing.
Okay.
I got to get through that a little bit earlier than the scheduled time, so then I headed over to her apartment to do the supposed paperwork or whatever it was, but
Okay.
within a minute of walking in the door, it was just fighting and arguing.
Okay.
And she had this morning said that she was gonna, somehow she knew that I was supposed to be gone today for this, and she said she would have the cops out at my house to get, even though it's not, by our agreement, it's not her time to have her.
Okay.
And also by the actual court order, because I have it marked on the calendar, the court order dates.
Okay. All right.
So, told my mom she's probably gonna be coming out here just to cause a problem, just because she knows we have guests at the house right now.
Okay.
So,
So so you,
Jumping around,
let me
sorry.
just help me to understand here. You leave your house and you go to the hospital and get your test done. And
Yes.
then you go over to Ariel's apartment.
yes.
Okay.
To Cortland's surprise, they did not go to the hospital as Phillips claims here. Instead, Phillips drove them to the DHS, where he wanted to leave Kate for adoption. When Cortland refused, he took her home.
What happens once you're there and what happens after that?
We argued and fought, I want to say for an hour or more.
Okay.
Got a bit more escalated than usual.
Okay.
And not physical, of course, but just
Right. Just
quite a few threats. It's not uncommon for her to threaten to run away with Haley next time she has her or something, but
Right.
just, I've already informed her that I'm going back to court over this.
Okay.
This was probably earlier this week.
Okay.
So it was just more court threats. We argued and argued. Then she's saying that she has to go somewhere.
Okay.
And then I was like, well, what about this paperwork? And she didn't, then all of a sudden it wasn't paperwork, it was having to go somewhere and fill out something.
Right.
I have no idea what it was about.
Okay.
It's probably not even true, really.
Okay.
So then I go to leave. We're kind of arguing all the way out. And I get in my car and I start to back up, and she opens the door and starts putting Catherine in the car.
Okay.
And I was like, well, what are you doing? And she's like, well, what do you mean, what am I doing? And then she just expected me to take her to the DHS.
Okay.
Because I guess she had an appointment, according to her, to give her up for adoption,
Okay.
which she's been saying, like, for probably 7 months now, 8 months, that she's going through adoption or working on it, but,
Okay.
and I guess there's been over close to 80 attempts probably of just like meeting with people or something, but somehow she's always expecting a phone call for them to actually meet for the exchange part,
Okay.
and all the paperwork's already filled out for an adoption, but
Uh-huh.
I kind of doubt that too. I don't know what she's really doing or what's going through her head, but
Okay.
so I got kind of sidetracked.
That's okay.
So then I drive her over to the DHS. She tries to stop me, tell me to stop like by the hospital. And I'm like, well, why the hospital? And so then I keep driving to the DHS, and we're still arguing. Just pause briefly from the argument for that.
Mm-hmm.
And we get there, she isn't getting out, she's just sitting there and arguing.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'd like to get home. So then she wants me to drive her somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her I'm not your damn taxi service.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm especially not gonna be driving you around.
Mm-hmm.
when I could be doing better things and driving you around while I'm just being yelled at.
Mm-hmm.
So then she gets out, and she gets her daughter out, Catherine, and she starts walking, gets probably about 20 steps away, and I'm about to pull out, and then she comes back. Well, actually, while she was getting out, she said, "You can just keep I'm not carrying this shit," referring to the car seat and her diaper bag, and that I would just have to come and bring it in later. And I told her I'm not coming back to town later just for you. Like,
So then what happens?
so then we argue some more. She ends up getting back in the car.
Uh-huh.
We sit there and argue some more. And then I ultimately drive her to the hospital like she wanted, then she doesn't get out.
Okay.
Earlier, I was kind of hazy. We were just fighting so much that I couldn't remember how many trips back and forth between where we did, but it was just kind of bouncing back and forth between her apartment, DHS, and the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure at that point, when we were at the hospital, she just asked to be dropped off at her house, or her apartment, so I take her back there. We argue some more, then she gets out.
Okay.
And
Where's Catherine at this point?
Well, she gets out, but then she just walks off, and she doesn't go to her apartment door. She goes to some like side door or something, I think.
Okay.
And she comes back, and we argue. Then I left,
Okay.
and then from there, I was gonna go home, like take a left and go. Well, take a left on Tinkham going towards Scottville.
Uh-huh.
And go on the back way, but then I remembered I was hungry before that, and I had stuff in town I wanted to do, but I was kind of just too pissed to really want to do anything, so I figured I'd just put it off till tomorrow or something.
Okay.
Then I ended up going to Wendy's and getting some food there,
Okay.
and drove home.
Okay. Well, what time did you get home?
Phillips later wrote in his confession that after driving around and stopping at Wendy's, he had a fit of rage and threw the car seat out of his truck without realizing Kate was still inside. She was ejected and severely injured. Phillips admitted that he didn't try to get her help. Instead, he held her for a while, then drove around before getting out to walk and eventually abandoning her body.
I want to say around 3, but I'm not too sure.
Okay.
I know when I got home, my mom and my daughter were in the doorway, and she said that the police had been there, and this whole thing, and she gave me the card to call the officer. Can't recall his name, but
Okay.
so then about 20 minutes after I got home probably was when I called.
Okay. All right. And the officers came out?
They said they'll be there in 10 minutes. It was more like about half hour maybe.
Okay. All right. So when you get back, you said that after you take her to DHS, you go, because you didn't want to be her taxi, you take her back to her apartment.
Right.
And you said that she gets out and she takes Catherine, and she says that you just keep that stuff, meaning the baby seat and stuff like that, right?
Right.
Is that correct?
Yes.
But then you said she got back in the car, right? And you
Yes.
ended up taking her over to the hospital?
Yes.
Okay. Did she put Catherine back in the car then?
We never got out of the hospital.
I mean, but when you're at her apartment and then you go back over to the hospital, right, what you said, did she put Catherine back in the car?
She was in the car whenever we were. So
Okay, so Catherine was in the car the whole time?
I can't really recall if we went back to the apartment twice or just that one time, but
Okay.
we were just fighting the whole time, so
Right.
all I wanted to do was just get home and get her
Where
away
was,
from me.
where was Catherine at in the car while you guys were driving around?
She put her behind the driver's seat.
Okay. All right. Was she in a baby seat?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. then when you dropped him off the last time, you dropped Ariel off, right? She took Catherine with her?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. I gotta make just a real quick phone call, and then I'll be right back. Can I get you some more water or anything?
I'm fine.
Okay,
Thanks.
I'll be right back, okay?
Okay.
Okay, Sean. Sean, obviously, the reason why, we called you down here today is because we got an issue with, Catherine's missing. And we don't know where she's at, So, we know that you were with Ariel, earlier with Catherine. And according to the guys that spoke with you out there at your mom, she said that, she was still, your belief is that she's still with Ariel, okay? But, we talked with Ariel, and, obviously Ariel's got a little different take on it. So, what I'm gonna do is I need to advise you of your rights, okay? And I gotta do that with everybody that I deal with. And I'm gonna ask you these rights, okay? And then I'm gonna ask you whether or not you understand them, okay? All right? And a couple things, Sean, it's real important that that you're real honest with me, okay? I know quite a bit of information, okay? And if you start to lie to me or something like that or whatever, okay, it's important for us to just stand as even keel here. My number one concern right now is for Catherine, okay? And so that's what my questioning is going to be about, is about Catherine, okay? Before we ask you any questions, you must understand your rights. You have the right to remain silent. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Anything you say can and will be used against you in court. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. If you have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before we ask you any questions and have him with you during questionings. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed for you before any questioning if you wish. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. If you decide to answer the questions now without a lawyer present, you will still have the right to stop answering at any time. You also have the right to stop answering at any time until you've talked with your lawyer. You understand that? Basically what that means is that at any time that we're talking here today, okay, if you say, listen, I don't want to answer that question, okay, we'll move on.
Okay.
Or I don't want to talk about it, we'll move on, okay?
The detective pauses the interrogation to read Phillips his rights, which should have been taken care of before he started asking questions.
All right? Or, if you decide at some point you want to, hey, that's enough, then that's what it is, okay?
Can I decide
So-
later on that I want an attorney?
So if you decide to answer the questions now without a lawyer present, you'll still have the right at any time until you talk with a lawyer. So at any time during the interview, you can say, hey, I want to talk to a lawyer. Okay? You understand that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Do you know how to read? I have to ask. It's nothing personal, but people sometimes that I have and I talk to don't know or don't have the ability to read. What's your education level?
High school.
Okay. You have a high school diploma?
Yes.
Okay. And you graduated from where? Okay. I graduated a long time before you did, I'm sure. When did you graduate?
I want to say.
I graduated. Do I look that old?
No, actually.
Okay. What I need for you to do is to read this over. And basically what this says, I haven't forced or coerced you in any way in talking with me here. I haven't promised you anything. And if you're willing to waive your rights, I need for you to sign right there, okay? You can read that over. If you got a question about it or anything like that, you can. And then I'm just gonna sign the bottom of it, just as a witness to the whole thing. And the time is 7:55. Okay. All right, Sean, I kind of just want to take you back a little bit. You had mentioned to me earlier that you had this paternity test thing going on, right? And what time was it again that you thought you went over to the hospital for that?
Showed up early. Scheduled time was 12, but I'm pretty sure I got done with it before.
How did that make you feel when you had to go in there and do that?
I don't really have any feelings.
Okay.
It's kind of awkward having someone swab around my mouth.
Right. Were you upset that you even had to do this, though?
I was upset when I got the thing in the mail, but
You had time to process it from that point?
yeah, because then it just went against everything she said, and then
Right.
of course when I called, she said, "Oh, it's just they're putting two and two together that we already have a kid in common. It's not me." So
Right, right.
um,
Okay. And then you said that you guys were arguing a lot when you got over there today, when you got over to Ariel's. Is that correct?
yes,
And you said, you kind of alluded to the fact that you were kind of arguing about this holiday weekend and some stuff like that. Was there some other things that you were arguing about?
about her parenting, my parenting,
Okay.
things that we've done or said before. Just
Okay.
we usually argue quite often, almost all of our
Right.
whenever we're around each other. But
How do you feel, because you had mentioned to me, how do you feel, you said that Ariel had been talking about wanting to put Catherine up for adoption and stuff like that. And if in fact, okay, this paternity test comes back and let's say Catherine is yours, okay? How would you feel about the adoption? Do you feel like that's a viable option?
Adoption was always Phillips's plan for Kate. He resented the additional tie to Cortland, and the detective is already well aware of the situation. He is trying to find out if Phillips would resort to murder if adoption was no longer an option.
it's been hell. Well, basically raised this kid by myself, but she's in the picture. It's not even really a functional thing, so I wouldn't.
Right.
Plus, I haven't even really been in his life so far, so
Right.
I don't really think that she's capable of parenting, so.
Okay.
Or even
So would it be a
coming
fair
close, so-
statement, would it be a fair statement then that if this was Catherine's, this would definitely be a financial burden for you and a time commitment burden?
Yes,
I mean, having another child. Would that be a fair statement?
yes.
Okay. And the reason why I ask you that is I'm just trying to get a feeling for, where you're at here, and I understand that, I mean, I've raised children myself, okay? I have 3 children, okay? 2 of them are grown up, okay? And I got a young one at home still. And, parenting is not easy. Yeah. I think parenting is probably one of the toughest things I've ever had to do in my life. And I have a pretty tough job, you have a tough job being in the military. I understand that. It can be stressful, especially under the circumstances of that you're going to be deployed, knowing that you have a child here that you love and care for, and that you need to provide for that child in the sense of, when, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but as a father of my own children, I feel a huge responsibility to my children. Is that how you feel? I mean, not only just being able to provide for them material things that they absolutely need, I mean, food, shelter, clothing, that kind of stuff. But it's just the mere responsibility of having a child. And it changes your life, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
It did for me, I guess. I mean, it changed my life in a heartbeat, okay? When I got my children, and it can be, for me, I'm just looking back on what I felt. It's a huge responsibility, and it never goes away. It's not like a job where I go and I put my 8 hours in, stamping parts, doing whatever I'm doing, okay? And I go home and I'm done. The child is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days out of the year, you know? And so, you know, I understand that. And again, like I said before, it's real important that you be honest with me, because the next couple of questions that I have for you are going to be important, okay?
Okay.
Because obviously this is a serious situation. I mean, you understand that, right?
Yes.
I mean, we have a 5-month-old baby that we don't know where she's at, okay? And like I said, my number one concern right now is Catherine, okay? I know that you may, okay, not have that same concern. I don't know where you're at with that, okay? And I'm not gonna even ask you where you're at with that, okay? Because I know that you're going through a difficult time right now. Whether or not she's your child or not, you know, you already have. I mean, it's a lot to process and a lot to deal with.
I'm really not the type to worry about stuff, so if it happens to be, then.
But I'm very, very concerned about Catherine, okay? And do you know where Catherine is at?
Usually, Ariel's been known to play quite strange games like this, or, well, not like this. This is by far the farthest anything's ever gone.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually just been like hiding it from me, like with someone she knows, or not giving her back, or I think she even once sold me her phone and then reported stolen around the time that we were about to go into court. So
Right.
just
Well,
to try to get some.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and I can understand, you know, I understand all that, Sean. I understand, you know, with these types of relationships, little games get played. You know, games like taking somebody's cell phone or, you know, those kinds of things. I totally understand that, but we got a lot different situation here right now. We're talking about a human being.
Yes.
We're talking about a 5-month-old girl that cannot care for herself. Okay? She cannot care for herself. She needs somebody to care for her. Okay? And that takes it to a whole nother level. Okay? A whole nother level. I'm not talking about the little shenanigans of taking your phone, doing that kind of stuff. Okay? This is over the top. Okay? All right?
Right.
This is some serious stuff. Okay? All right? I asked you the question, do you know where Catherine's at? And you never really answered that question. You just told me that, well, Ariel does this and Ariel does that.
Oh.
Okay?
What I was getting at is, I'm guessing she just has her with a friend or someone she knows.
Okay.
I only know of 2 of the people she uses for babysitters, but,
Okay.
well, 3.
All right.
But
So what you're telling me right now is that you have no idea where Catherine is.
I know she knows, but I have no
I'm
way.
not asking you that.
I have no way of
I'm not
knowing
asking you
myself.
that, okay, Sean? I'm not asking you that. I'm asking you a specific question. Do you know where Catherine is right now?
No, I do not.
Okay. All right. All right. When was the last time that you saw Catherine?
I'm not sure on the time, really, probably.
Okay. Give me a situation then where you last saw Catherine.
It was probably around 2 when I finally left from her apartment.
Okay. So the last time you saw Catherine was when you were at whose apartment?
Ariel's apartment.
Okay. And you believe that was around 2 o'clock?
That would be my best guess, yes.
Okay. And where was Catherine at when you last saw her?
In the car seat behind me.
Car seat behind you. Okay. All right. You didn't see where she went from there?
Into her apartment.
And who took her into the apartment?
Ariel did.
And did she say anything to you about that, Ariel? When she left, when she parted ways, what was her last comment?
I think we were still arguing. She wanted me to stay there for a minute and so we could argue some more, work things out supposedly. And I said, no, I'm leaving. And it was still about the 4th of July thing, and then as I was leaving or shutting my door and leaving, she says, well, I'll see you in court then, and I don't remember exact words, but just like she's gonna ruin me in court or something.
Okay.
She's convinced that.
I want to take you back to, before you go back to Ariel's apartment. Was there a conversation that you had with Ariel about her not taking the paternity test?
No.
There was no conversation like that?
I had already taken it.
No, for her to take the paternity test.
What do you mean?
Did you tell Ariel that you didn't want her to take the paternity test?
Not today,
Not today.
but
The questions about the paternity test clearly bother Phillips, and he does everything he can to avoid giving a straight answer.
it had came up. I'm not sure exactly how it came up or the exact way it was worded, but previously, it was probably the day or probably the day after we each got the actual thing in the mail. I just today found out that she got one too.
Okay.
Well, no, I found out when she called because she's pissed about how I did that for some reason.
Okay. All right.
And
So that conversation didn't come up today?
no,
Okay.
earlier this week or maybe even last week it did.
Let me ask you this question. Did you have a conversation about, or with Ariel, about taking Catherine to DHS, okay, and making arrangements for DHS to put her up for adoption?
Yes,
Okay. That conversation happened today?
yes.
Okay.
That's why I had driven her to DHS.
Okay. So you knew the purpose for which you went to DHS?
She never got out or anything, but I knew that's what the purpose was, as she had stated, for
Okay.
going over there.
But you asked her specifically, right, to, for you and her to take the baby to DHS, and let's see if we can
No,
put her for adoption.
she said when I got there that she already had it set up to be done today,
Okay.
and she just wanted me to give her a ride there. Because she doesn't really walk anywhere, even if it is 2 blocks.
Okay. So you never said to her, let's go to DHS and put Catherine up for
At
adoption?
that point, we were arguing, and I was like, well, I'm just leaving, because I had come there for paperwork for school enrollment, but I had been there for probably 45 minutes, an hour at that time, and brought it up a couple times, and we were just arguing, so. And I never actually really agreed to take her there, in a sense. As I was leaving, she put her in my car, and like I said, I asked her what she's doing, and she's like, well, what do you mean I'm doing? And then I ended up taking her to DHS.
Okay.
So I was assuming she'd just get out then, and I could go home.
So that wasn't a part of an argument that occurred earlier today when you were with Ariel, where you wanted her to go to DHS and put the child up for adoption, and she didn't want to.
No, it was rather the opposite. Like, I never brought it up. She's the one that brought it up and said that she'd already arranged for it today.
Okay.
And, well,
And so, what was
Lost me.
your problem with that then?
we had already been fighting, so I just told her, why should I be taking you?
Okay.
If you're-
But my feeling on this whole thing is, Sean, is that you didn't want to have this responsibility with Catherine. Is that correct? I mean,
What do you mean exactly?
you didn't, number one, you didn't feel like Catherine was your child.
Yes.
Is that correct? And number two, you're going to take a paternity test to find out one way or the other, right?
Right.
And you really don't want to be the father of Catherine. I mean, if you are, you are. But
Yes.
deep down, be honest with me right now. Deep down, you really don't want this child to be yours.
To be honest, yes.
Okay.
In a rare burst of honesty, Phillips admits that he did not want Kate as a daughter.
All right.
I'm young and already have plenty of
But,
responsibility.
and along with that, there's a fear, right, that this child is yours. Now, just be honest with me, because, I mean, that's just being honest. I mean, I know for a fact, if I put myself in your shoes, you know, I'd be fearful too, because it's another big responsibility to have another child that I have to be responsible for.
It's quite a lot
that-
to think about.
That with this woman, like Ariel, okay, who has given me nothing but problems with my first child that I've had with her, now I'm gonna have 2 children with her, okay? There's gotta be a little bit of fear there, I would say.
Right.
And is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. And so my question to you then, back to you is, why wouldn't you support that of adoption? If that was something that she was gonna do?
Support that.
Okay.
But I even drove her all the way to Grand Rapids, like, soon after her birth.
But
twice.
today you weren't supportive of it, right?
Well, there's actually been a ridiculous amount of times when I've been over there to pick up and she
Okay, I'm not talking about
No,
right
I'm
now,
just
okay?
getting to a shoe. There's
Alright.
been many instances where I've waited around, or driven her places for this purpose, like the adoption.
Mhm.
And somehow over, like, she probably has close to 80 attempts that she's claiming, and I've been a part of, like,
Right.
quite a few.
Right.
And
This
every other...
this is what I think, okay, Sean? This is what I think. And then I want you to just be quiet and just listen to what I got to say, okay? Number one, I want to try to help you, Sean, okay? I want to try to help you, all right? In order for you to be helped, okay, I've got to have some information, okay? And some of the things I think that you've been talking about here on some of these last couple of questions that I have, I don't know that you've been totally honest with me about your feelings about this thing, okay? I need to know where you're coming from here, okay? Because outwardly, you're showing me that you don't have very much compassion for not only Ariel, but Catherine, because you don't want to be bound up with this another child, especially with Ariel, okay? I understand that, okay? Everything that you've told me about the nightmares that you've had with in all these things, okay? You feel like you're getting painted back into a corner again with her, okay? And I understand that, okay? I really do, because I see this happening all the time, okay? I've been doing this job for 20 years, all right? And I've seen where females, okay, are boxing guys in the corners, okay, with children and all that kind of stuff. I understand that, okay? I do, because I've seen it happen, okay? Women, okay, when they want something, and they want it bad enough, they'll go to whatever lengths it is to make those things happen. And I believe that Ariel wants you, okay? And she wants to stay close to you, and she wants to keep you under her thumb, whatever you want to call it, spell, whatever it is, okay? And she's willing to go to whatever lengths it is, you know, get pregnant and all this kind of stuff, okay? Now, for you, that's upsetting, okay? I mean, granted, if Catherine's your kid, so be it. But you don't believe that that's the case, okay? I believe that today there was an argument that went about where you were trying to persuade her, okay, to do the adoption. Because I believe that that's what's best. And I think that you know that's what's best for Catherine. If it's my kid or not my kid, I mean, there's got to be a little bit of inkling there of compassion for Catherine, what Catherine's going to have to go through. Because you're already seeing it,
Yes.
right? I mean, you're already seeing having to go through. This pulling and tugging going on, okay? That obviously upsets you because you've spent the majority of our time together here today talking about the effects that it's made on you. Maybe not in direct form, but everything you've said, what I've got from it is that the whole relationship between you and Ariel involving has been a struggle at best, okay? And now there's a possibility of another child going into this whole thing, okay? You've been painted into a corner with this whole thing, getting the paperwork from the prosecutor's office, okay? Making you take this paternity test, okay?
In an effort to get Phillips to open up, the detective tries to make himself sound understanding of Phillips's situation to build a better rapport. Phillips shows no sign of responding in a positive way.
I believe that you told Ariel, don't take the test, okay? Let's just go to DHS. Let's make it right for Catherine, okay? Let's make it right for Catherine. Let's put Catherine in a place where we know that she's going to be taken care of, okay? And somebody good's going to be able to raise her, and we're not going to have all this turmoil. I understand that. And I think that's what happened today, okay? That's my belief what happened. I don't know why you don't want to tell me that, okay? But sitting here listening to you, okay, I know you're young. You're in the military, and you think you can handle it all. But this stuff is stressful. This is some stressful shit.
Right.
And I think that you're trying to see clearly through this thing, okay? You're trying to see clearly through this, that what's the best option here? Not only for myself, but for Catherine. You know?
Right.
I mean, and so, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think that that's what happened. I think that's what the conversation was about. I think that's what a lot of the arguing was going on. And I don't think Ariel agreed with you. Because Ariel's being Ariel again. Ariel's not thinking straight. Ariel's only thinking about herself, okay? She's not thinking about the best well-being of She's not thinking about the best well-being of Catherine, okay?
Okay.
You know? Now, correct me, anytime you want to correct me if I'm wrong on this, but if I'm off base here, just say, hey, you're way off base, okay?
Okay.
But I think this did happen today, okay? All right? And I think that's part of what the root of the argument was about with Ariel, because Ariel's being Ariel again. Ariel's being stubborn. She's not listening to me, okay? She's not listening about the best interest of Catherine. She never listens to me about. So this is what I got to look forward to. I'm going to go take this paternity test. She's going to take the paternity test. I'm going to get strapped as being the father of this child. She's not willing to do anything with adoption, and you've told me that. It's been 8 months of her flip-flopping around, okay, wanting to do this, wanting to do that, you know. saying that she's going to do this and she's not doing it. Okay, you've taken her, like you said, you took her to Grand Rapids, you've taken her all over, you're trying to persuade her to do the right thing.
It's not really a
know?
persuasion, really. Like, she actually, most of the time, she's trying to get me to help her in the process.
Okay,
And it's not really being pushed by me much.
okay. But today, I think it was being pushed by you. Okay? I think, and that's part of where the argument came in at. Okay? I think that there was an argument that went on about you wanting to just, hey, let's go to DHS and let's do the right thing for Catherine. Let's do the right thing right now, today, for Catherine. And that's why you do want her to go take her paternity test, okay? I mean, you had already taken yours, but there's no sense in you going and taking your paternity test. Let's just go do the right thing. And the right thing right now for everybody involved, that being Ariel, yourself, and certainly Catherine, okay, was let's see about an adoption. And, you know, because this is the thing, that's the information I'm getting, okay? And you know what, it makes sense to me. But this is the thing, Sean. What happens is, Ariel's being Ariel, once again. Ariel's being that stubborn bitch, okay, that, yep, I have a child with, okay, but by gosh, she's just not doing anything, okay? She's not gonna be a parent to this child. I'm gonna get freaking stuck with this thing again and everything else. And it pissed you off, okay? Just like she's been pissing you off basically ever since and more. She's done nothing but try to get in your way of your relationship. She's done nothing to foster any kind of relationship between the two of you to make this smooth between you and him. And here now we got Catherine, okay, of another 5-month-old baby, okay, and she's trying to strap you with it.
Making negative remarks about Cortland does spark a bit of emotion in Phillips, since that line of thought resonates with his own feelings. Unfortunately, it will not be enough to get him to admit to what happened.
And she's the one that's saying, you know, that I'm the child or the father of this child. And she's not listening to any kind of reasoning that I have. Okay? And you got pissed off. You got pissed off. And I got people that'll tell me all over inside that apartment complex that you guys were arguing and raising hell. Okay? But you know what? That's understandable. Because you're dealing with a freaking psycho. Okay? Just hear me out. Okay? Just hear me out. Alright? I don't want you to say anything right now. Just hear what I got to say. Once again, I'm right here sitting with Ariel, arguing over the same shit that I've been arguing with her about for the last 3 years of my life, probably before they even were born. Okay? The same shit. Okay? And you got pissed. I don't blame you. You got madder than hell. I know you did. I know you were pissed. Okay? And you know what? I would be too. Because here I am trying to deal with somebody that's not even reasonable. Not even reasonable. I mean, I can't even talk to this frickin' woman. Okay? And now, I'm going to be possibly strapped with having another child with her. Okay? And I've already got a bag full of nightmares, okay, in dealing with her. And I can see this is going right down the same road again. Right? I'm going right down the same damn road with her. You know what? I don't want to do it. And you were pissed. And you were angry. And you were mad. Okay? And when you left that apartment, you left with Catherine. Okay? You left with Catherine. Because you know what? Piss on you. Piss on you, Ariel. Okay? I'm out of here. And you had Catherine with you. The question now is, though, is are we going to do the right thing? And the right thing is for Catherine. Let's forget everybody else. Let's forget Ariel. Let's forget you. Let's forget everybody else, okay? Catherine is the innocent one here today. She can't speak for herself. She can't talk for herself. She can't defend herself. She can do nothing, okay? And you took her somewhere because you were pissed, and I understand that. I understand you were pissed, okay? I would be too, because here I go again, fucking Ariel, okay? And you were pissed, and you drove out of that parking lot with Catherine in the backseat of your car, okay? The question is now for you, okay, is that are you going to do the right thing or are you going to do the wrong thing? The right thing is to tell me where Catherine is, okay? That's the right thing for Catherine, no matter what's happened, okay? Whether or not Catherine's alive, whether or not Catherine's dead, or whether or not you know whether or not Catherine is dead or alive right now. Because she's obviously not here, and she's not with us. But she's somewhere, and you know where she's at. I need to know where she's at, okay? So I can go take care of Catherine. Because Catherine needs to be taken care of. At least Catherine needs to be taken care of. Don't you believe that? Don't you believe that Catherine at least needs to be taken care of in this situation? Throw everything else out. Throw everything else out. You know, the fight with Ariel, your relationship with Ariel, whatever it may be. Okay? You know where Catherine is at. Okay? I believe that 100%. 100%, Sean. I believe you know where Catherine is. Okay? You know where she is. Okay? You know where she is, Sean. Okay? You know where she is. You drove out of that parking lot with her in the back of your car. Okay? Question now is, where is Catherine? Okay? You need to tell me the truth, because it's only going to get worse for you. Okay? I'm telling you right now. Do you think that this community is going to put up with us? It's not. And this is not going away, Sean. This is not going away. Okay? And let's do it for Catherine. Innocent Catherine. Okay? The clothes that Catherine had on. This is not looking good for you, Sean. The clothes that Catherine had on was found in your pocket. Okay? The only way that that gets off her is because of you.
There is evidence tying Phillips to Kate's disappearance, and he isn't going to be able to come up with a good enough explanation to account for that.
Okay, no, stop. I don't want you responding to me. Okay? Somehow, her clothes got in your pocket. Okay? Somehow, Catherine's clothes that she was wearing this morning got in your pocket. Okay? Catherine's seat is in your car. Her baby diaper is in your car. Her bottle is in your car. Okay? All those things are in your car, in your possession. Okay? It is not looking good for you. Let me help you, Sean. Let me help you. As a brother in the military, whatever it may be, let me help you. If you keep going down this road of denying and telling me lies about whether or not you know where Catherine is, it's going to get bad for you. It's going to get bad. I don't want to see that. If we can salvage something right now, let's do it. Let's do it. Okay? Let's salvage something right now. Okay? Because if you go down this road, I'm going to tell you right now, I've worked in this system for 20 years, Sean. It ain't going to be good for you. You drove out of that parking lot with Catherine in the back of your car. And you know where Catherine is. okay? All the evidence points that you had Catherine in that car. Her clothing is in the pocket of your car, of your pants that she had on today. Okay? Where is Catherine? Where is Catherine at, Sean?
I believe I want an attorney at this point.
Okay. Stay right there.
There is evidence tying Phillips to Kate's disappearance, and he isn't going to be able to come up with a good enough explanation to account for that. Sean Phillips was sentenced to 10 to 15 years in prison on an unlawful imprisonment charge. Phillips was also sentenced to 19 to 45 years in prison on the second-degree murder charge. The body of Kate is yet to be recovered. If you enjoyed this video and want to support me further, there's a Patreon link in the description where you can do just that. Thank you for watching. Stay safe.